Last night I took 3/4 of a trazodone, a Benadryl, and a half, and I didn't take Zopicone again, and I didn't have that scary ripping myself out of my body into a really bad dream that felt like I was still awake thing happen, and I fell asleep relatively easily. And I've been taking 6 of the Cal brand lithium orotate probably about an hour before I take the other stuff, because I take 2 zinc at night too, and I'm thinking that might compete with the lithium a little bit. Plus, I think taking the lithium to sort of knock myself out a little bit, and then I take the other supplements, and then I wait like 15 minutes, and then I take the drugs. And then I get into bed. And the last 2 or 3 days, I've been taking the midday dose of taurine. I haven't been taking that because it's something that I need to take on an empty stomach. So usually I have my dinner vitamins and I just eat and take the vitamins. So taking taurine on an empty stomach before the food takes a little bit of planning, because I have to remember to take it and then wait to eat. So I took it probably like 10 minutes ago, and then after I talk to myself, I will eat. And the last 2 nights I've been sleeping more like 9 hours instead of 10 to 12, and I do feel rested. The other day I felt so tired. I think it was Monday, so I literally laid on the beach all day, and I just felt tired, so that's what I did. And then I had a call on Zoom that night, and it sort of woke me up because we were talking about passionate topics related to this sort of thing. And then, yeah, so I had that weird thing 2 nights ago with the falling asleep into a nightmare. And last night I was having dreams for sure, but they weren't. They were sleeping dreams, and they weren't really scary. I don't remember what they were, but I remember there were dreams for sure. And today I got up and I just felt like getting stuff done. It felt kind of like when I have that energy to really get things done, and sometimes that's when I spend a lot more money. So today I spent like $100 at Costco, and then $25 at another grocery store, and I went out twice. The first run I bought a bunch of food, probably a little bit too much, but I probably have food for a few days. Like, I won't have to get anything else. And I'm really liking this kale salad, like kale and cabbage and carrot chopped up, all chopped up together in a big clear bin, and it's only $6. And then I put some dressing on it that I got that's local dressing, but it has sulfites in it, so I'll probably get something else next time. So I got 2 of those kale salads, and then I got enough broccoli for 2 broccoli and lentil or broccoli and chickpea meals. I got hummus at Costco. I got carrot sticks. I got organic grapes. I got organic cherries. I got apples, and they weren't organic. I was hoping they would be, because they are at the Costco near me. And I got the chia seed butter, nut butter, the mixture one. It's really tasty. I've been eating almond butter by the spoon. And I got some more Indian sauce, the green curry one from Costco, and I don't know what else. But then on my second trip out today, I went and I found the same shampoo that I'm using lately. It was only $8, and I got another pack of pure gum, which is the aspartame free, at Winners. And I got this bathing suit because it has been on my list to get a new one. It was only $40. I hope the bottoms are tight enough. I don't love the style, but it fit better than any of the other ones at Sport Chek, and I really didn't want to go to another place. I just wanted to get a bathing suit. Didn't really matter as long as it fit comfortably, and this one does. So that works. That's done. And then I went to Best Buy and got a cord for my phone, because I learned that if I plug it into a certain plug in the car, the map comes up on the screen. And this I did not know for the last 2 weeks. So sort of sitting the phone there and using it through Bluetooth. So it shows you what I know, and I learned how to change the fade and balance in the car and turn up the volume of the person speaking the directions, namely Siri. And that was helpful because those things were both bothering me. The Siri directions were really low. That's something I found out today when I plugged in the cord. So I also got stuff to make smoothies because I brought a case of coconut milk because I hadn't been making smoothies because I was staying downstairs where there wasn't a kitchen to make smoothies. So I hadn't been using it. So I bought stuff to make smoothies. That's the thing. I returned a Vega powder. I hadn't opened it in maybe a month, but it was only a month old before that. Not even. I'd only used it a couple times and then didn't use it for a month. And I was using it here and it tasted rancid, like it wasn't tasty at all. Usually it gives the smoothie a really nice vanilla flavor. But it wasn't doing that. So I realized, hey, I got this at Costco. I can return it. You don't even need a receipt. And I just told them it was rancid, and it was. I probably got it, not even 2 months ago. And I've used that for a long time, and that's never happened. So they took it back, which was nice. And then, I just did all these errands today. And I also ordered from VitaCost. They sent a coupon for free shipping to Canada over $50, and usually you have to spend like $100. So I don't know if it was good to do, but I bought taurine because that one is something I need for sure, and I bought zinc glycinate and also the fish oil. Those are a few things that I don't want to run out of. And then I noticed that glycine powder was cheaper on Amazon. So I ordered that on Amazon as well as my salt toothpaste. I probably had another one at home, but I didn't bring it. I forgot. I forgot a few things, but I packed pretty well considering I was half out of it. And then I also went to a thrift store and got a little power bar because there's a plug in here that doesn't work, and then there's a plug underneath the desk that works, but then I need to plug like 4 things in, and there's only 2. So I got a power bar used for like $2. That was awesome. That solves that problem. So my brain was just solving these little things that have piled up after being here. And the first 2 weeks, I literally had next to no food, and I was making or having usually like hummus and carrot sticks for dinner. And I did get hummus and carrot sticks, but I'll have the kale salad for dinner and the broccoli thing. So I feel pretty much in the flow of what I would do with food here, which is good because food is sometimes hard depending on what types of tools that you have. And here the fridge is kind of small, so I shouldn't buy that much food for sure because there's not enough space really to put all that food in the fridge. Though it will go down quickly because those kale salads take up a lot, and then the spinach bins, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, my brain feels like it's functioning well, and I'm feeling good getting stuff done. And tomorrow it's going to be kind of like today, a little on the cooler side, about 17 degrees. But then after tomorrow, it's going to go up to about 22. And it won't be as windy, I don't think. So I'll want to spend more time outside. So that's why I've been doing a lot of indoor stuff. And I did all these errands today because that's a good time to get done because I'll want to be outside. I have been kind of indoors for quite a few days. So now I'm going to go eat my kale salad, and it will be really good. And I do want to get back into more raw, and I'm doing pretty much mostly raw now, except for the cooked dinner sometimes and the hummus and things like that. So things are going pretty well, and yeah, looking forward to being outside in a couple of days. This is the kale salad. Look how big it is. It's huge. I'm wondering where all my calm breathing went. I looked at my Spire summary for the week, and I had like 1 hour of calm breathing, where usually I have about 2 or so, and then the average for women is 2.5 hours or something like that. And my tense breathing went way up to like 4 hours, and the regular for women is like 1 hour. So I'm way above average on that. So I don't know if I'm more affected by things or what is happening with that. But my focus breathing went from 6 hours to like 10 or 11 hours because I've been doing a lot of reading. And the average for focus breathing is something like 5 hours. I can't remember. And in the last week, I was a lot less active. It's been a little bit on the cooler side here, so I've been staying inside too much and reading, but starting tomorrow, I'm going to get outside more. And here is my Spire summary. And a kind of magic thing happened. I was talking to someone here, and I told them about how when Eckhart Tolle in the book The Power of Now said, ask yourself, I wonder what my next thought will be. When I did that, when I read the book over 10 years ago, it opened up a space in my mind of no thinking. And from that moment, I realized that I wasn't the chatter, and that chattering didn't need to be going on. And I told that to someone, and then they opened up the audiobook of The Power Now and just like randomly went to any point in the audiobook, and they went exactly to the point of Eckhart Tolle saying that. And they told me that the next day. They told me that today. I said the thing about the Eckhart Tolle example yesterday, I think. So that was kind of like magic, because sometimes that happens where I point something out and then somehow it sort of manifests in that person's experience as salient, whether noticing it or in a gesture, like just randomly going to a point in the book and then it being there. And then what was also interesting was I was talking to the same person, and we were outside, and they noticed a rock with a happy face on it. And I've been taking pictures of rocks with happy faces. Well, this rock had a face. She said, look, that rock has a face. So she's noticing something that I'm noticing and paying attention to. So that was really interesting. So I'm wondering if one points out a truth to someone or points someone towards truth, because that's not really a truth, like, but it's a pointer to truth, that thing. So I'm pointing to a pointer. I'm pointing to Eckhart Tolle's pointer, and then something kind of magical and synchronistic happened in that person's experience. And that happened to me a lot in California, and pointing stuff out to people, and then it sort of happens. Or thinking or having something come to mind and then pulling a book off the shelf and that exact phrase being there. So I'm realizing a lot of things that I've already realized, but I'm sort of realizing that if that is true, then is there something that can be sort of not done with it, but that's the wrong word, but it's along the lines of how I managed to get myself to a peaceful space, and I'm still waiting another week or two to see if any kind of crisis takes place besides some of the weirdness trying to sleep. And if it doesn't happen, then maybe it's being in the right environment that's important at this time. So if I'm not in the right environment, I have to deal with a lot of drama of falling out of that energy of my life. So I don't know if this is escapism or if it is more the right environment. So in the right environment, I can point out things and magical things happen and it doesn't seem weird. But in the wrong environment, when that movement from inside out starts happening and something comes to mind inside and then somebody around me that I know says it to me, so we're starting to really work as one. But when it's all a conditioned group of people, that's going to break. But when it's the right sort of community environment, then that energy sort of flows and flowers naturally. So what I'm trying to say is it doesn't work in the wrong environment and with people who aren't open to possibilities. And with people who are open to possibilities, it's really easy to see what's happening. And seeing it happening once or whatever isn't necessarily it. But other times when crazy stuff happens, people are like, ooh, that's crazy, I'm afraid, or I don't know what to say. Let's just ignore that and not share in that energy, not say anything, and just put all the energy back at the person who's trying to share it. And then that is one of the factors that leads to it imploding as something like a mental illness. It's not an illness if people can share in that magic. But if one can't, if the people around them can't, then the journey back is kind of harsh for the one that is not trying to share. It can't help but be shared. So if other people want to kick the crap out of it, then the source kind of gets the crap kicked out of it, only temporarily. So and the other thing that I made note of was this person also shared that for 10 days they've been able to sit down and study something without planning it or without thinking about it or without saying, okay, I'm going to do it in 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, and then not doing it. Just, oh, it's time to sit down and learn. And they do the lesson. And it was interesting to me because I've been here for 12 days and that's how I operate. I don't really think about anything. I just happen to sit down and do it. And I don't try to force myself. So it was interesting they were describing doing that one thing in that way. And so I'm starting to feel like the way one operates has an effect on the others around them. I have no idea. Time to take the vitamins and go to sleep. Good night. Stopped at a really nice view. I had major cramps this morning, so I had to take a bunch of anti-inflammatories. Feeling fine now, and I'm on my way up to see somebody that I know and have dinner, and thought I would stop at this viewpoint. It's really beautiful. And yesterday, same kind of dosage of all the meds, and I slept really well. Same with the night before. And I'm kind of wondering if all the organic cherries that I've been eating from Costco are playing a role in that. They're very anti-inflammatory. So having such a restful sleep and no real dreams, I don't know if it's just wearing itself out or if it's like having all those cherries, and I don't know. Could be some kind of clue. It'd be cool one day to make a simpler formulation for what could be helpful on certain days for this kind of condition of the brain. Oh, it's an eagle. I'm going in. Oh, that's refreshing. Last night I fell asleep with only half a trazodone, though I felt like for part of the night I was sleeping, but not sleeping very deeply. But then after that I did sleep. Yesterday I had a nice dinner out. Today I'm gonna get some sun. Tomorrow a friend of mine is gonna be in the area, so we're gonna hang out. I kinda wanna stay here longer. I think it's really good for my brain. this was the experiment to see if getting away to a peaceful circumstance could be good. And it feels like it was the right choice, for sure. And the thing is that I won't know for another 2 weeks if that little thing was the crisis or not. But if it was, it wasn't much of anything. So by getting to peaceful circumstances, there's practically no crisis. And then if there's practically no crisis, one could get to a peaceful circumstance that one still has to work or something. Like there's that woofing, something like, I think it used to be called willing workers on organic farms. But now it's a little bit different, but it's still called woofing. WWOOFING. So one could know when a crisis is and then make sure to be in like a peaceful farm, helping out on the farm, instead of in a crazy city around people that are kind of triggering in the times of crisis. And the non-times of crisis, those people are completely awesome. So the point is to not project those inner states onto outer people that we already know or we're already involved with, because that's where we feel comfortable projecting. Just like how if one has a romantic relationship, maybe both people in their friendship life and their work life and every other kind of life are like completely normal and fine and amiable and happy and content. But then when they go back home to each other, they bite each other's heads off. So it's the same kind of thing with this whole bipolar. When that negative energy comes, it creates the whole projecting it onto, family. Then one ends up in the hospital and sharing everything with doctors, and it's not making sense and it's confusing, and then the individual is diagnosed with some kind of mental illness, but one is overwhelmed and the stress is too much. So when one removes the stresses of the outer, then the inner isn't as bad. And I'm not saying that's the ultimate solution, but we have to do things to figure out how to help ourselves, unless we want to be in and out of the psych ward and get more and more post-hospitalization or hospitalization PTSD, which I think if one is living in fear of going back to the hospital because it's traumatizing, that could lead to increased possibility of suicide. Because if I think the treatments are worse, or how I'm being treated in the hospital is worse than death, then it's going to increase the probability of that. So it was hard to get myself where I am, but as soon as I got myself here, it all went away. And I don't think that's escapism. I think it's intelligence. So we'll see. I'm gonna get out and get some sun and maybe do another dip later. This is my first time just getting up in the morning and dipping into the lake, and what a cool way to start the morning in the summer. So testing this out, see how I like it. And now I know I can get in without much trouble, because sometimes when there's a lot of people around, it's sort of embarrassing to like dip one's tippy toe and be like, I can't get in. But now I know I can get in, so I could get a pool noodle and just float out wherever in the lake. I wouldn't swim out too far on my own because I'm not the greatest swimmer. I'm sort of a doggy paddler. So I mainly want to get sun today though, because it's going to be really hot and then it's going to cool down. had another incident with dogs. And I'm not mad. I don't feel mad. But I might have acted like I was mad, but I wasn't mad. I was laying on the rocks, and there's just this rock that goes into the water, so there's just a little ramp to get into the water there. There's people having picnic and sitting reading their books, and I'm kind of close to the ramp laying in the sun, and two girls come, like women, young women, and they decide that's a good place to train their dog to get in the water, or whatever they were doing. I wasn't really looking, but there was a little path beside me, and I knew, dog going in and out of the water, they're going to shake. And so that happened. They shaked and got water on me, and I said, ew, gross, or something, which was my reaction. And she said, luckily it's just lake water. And I'm like, well, in my mind, yeah, that's true. Not a big deal. And then the dog does it again. And I didn't really react. And then the dog does it a third time, like right beside me. I'm reading on my iPhone. Gets water all over me again, and my phone. And I don't have a waterproof phone. Wasn't that much water. But then I said, okay, I'm gonna move. And then she just said, at one point I said, you know, there are lots of open beaches that are really good for dogs. And she just said, awesome. Which I'm fine with. Like, I'm fine with all her responses. And so eventually I said, okay, I'm gonna move after the third shake when the dog was right beside me. And then maybe she said awesome again, I don't know, or okay. And again, like, these are my responses, but I wasn't feeling mad inside at all. So now, the thing is though, I knew the dog was gonna shake and get me wet. So, new rule, if I'm sitting somewhere and something like that happens, I need to just get up and move right away. Because this person wasn't really considerate to the fact that it was a very small area, and if the dog's going to get out and immediately shake, it's going to get on the person laying there. And not everybody wants that. But this person seemed to think that that was just fine, and they seemed quite amused by my moving. So I'm glad I could be amusing to them. And again, not mad, but I don't know how many people would want to continue laying in the sun where a dog is going to get water all over them and their iPhone while they're trying to relax and read. So again, not mad. It's early in the day. It's not going to in any way affect my day, but I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know they were going to stay though, so I could have just not said anything and got up and left. That would have been better. So this is the same kind of thing that happened when that dog came over and stuck his frothy, drooly jowls in my backpack. So I should have known to pick up my bag. But I don't pick up my bag every time a dog walks by. It's impossible. So, people with their dogs. It's just one of those things. Most people love dogs, but I still think it is a little inconsiderate. If I was training my dog to go in the water, I'd go to an open beach or an area where nobody was. So, yeah, that's fine. It was time to get up and walk anyway. And yeah, could be kind of a dumb reaction, but it's the same kind of thing. Okay, this is a good metaphor. I was talking with my brain twin about the idea of being okay with whatever is and being all spiritual about it. Like, say one is in unideal circumstances and one just say, well, I'll just be fine with it. I'll just be spiritual and accept whatever is. And then there is the fact that we as human beings have the power to change our circumstances and our situation. So I could have just laid there for an hour, being fine with this dog shaking its water all over me every, 2 or 3 minutes, which is one way to approach it. But I didn't particularly want that. So I moved. I just said, okay, I'm moving. Like, I didn't say, like, okay. And then the dog, when I was getting my clothes on to move, it even shaked on me one more time. She said, sorry, like, because she was walking by to get the thing they were throwing in the water. You know, so she said sorry in a nice tone. I don't think she really meant it. It was more like, what I'm doing with my dog is more important than your comfort, even though you were here first. But these are like the things we think in our head. So dog owners aren't aware that not everybody likes to pet dogs or touch dogs or have the dogs drool in their bag or shake water all over them when they found a nice spot. So anyway, point being, I have the power to move, so I moved. Whatever. It's not about who won or lost. It's only about being able to change. So in that situation, I didn't want to be like, I'm just going to be spiritual and lay here with a dog shaking water all over me, because I didn't particularly enjoy it. So I moved. So that's the sort of example. Yeah, one can be okay with certain things. And then I mentioned to my brain twin how Eckhart Tolle says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, then we kind of have to accept it because that's what is. But if we can change it, we don't like something, we don't prefer it, we can. It's not a problem. So, but I think sometimes it's challenging. I remember when I was first diagnosed, it took me a while before I accepted that I had to go through this journey of taking meds and being involved in a mental health system and having a diagnosis. But once I did, I decided to have fun with it, because part of me really wanted to say, screw this, and jump on a train to California. But, you know, people would have come after me. I was labeled with a diagnosis. I would have had the police after me, you know, because I was labeled with diagnosis and I did something drastic like run away. So I had to accept that and go through it. And by doing that, I'm now able to relax by a lake with dogs shaking on me. And now I have the full freedom to get up and move if I don't prefer that situation. And that's the same thing I've been able to get to even with mental health services. Starting to have a crisis, instead of staying in that environment which seemed to lead to crisis and having a crisis because of that, I managed to get myself the hell out of there. So it was sort of similar to how I wanted to take off for California right when I was diagnosed, or even before. I was trying to leave, but the universe wouldn't let me leave. It literally crushed me with gravity and left me laying there, breathing, handcuffed to a balcony. And then, before you know it, I was thrown in the mental health system. And I couldn't avoid it. But now, that's probably a snake. I've gotten to the point where when the crisis comes, I can get myself to a more ideal situation than right when it happened, because I've learned so much. Before that, it wouldn't have been possible. So yeah, I think the other option I can do with this scenario is find a better place to relax than on like a little outcrop where there's not much space to move. There isn't really much beach around this lake, but it would perhaps be better to come here, take a swim, do a lap, go for a shower, and then if I want to relax in the sun, there's a beach where I'm staying that nobody's on. So there's no reason for me to put myself in this situation to get a little bit irritated. And I wasn't even mad. It was just a matter of watching it play out and then learning, you know? And everything is good. Alright, so I just found a really private path here. This is a little bit off the beaten trail. These might be better places to swim. See, one can get in the water right there.